Well, good evening, everybody. Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could interrupt your conversations. I'm sorry I have to interrupt you, because clearly one of the main reasons for this evening is that you get the chance to meet one another and talk to one another. I'm pleased you're enjoying one another's company. I hope you've enjoyed the evening so far and the opportunity to meet tutors and heads of house as well as one another. And really the main focus of this evening is so that you get that chance to meet the tutor in particular, spend a bit of time with them, get to know them, put a name and face together, but also hopefully to meet the head of house, because those pastoral units are really, really important for the school. Now, I'm conscious we're welcoming back some parents whose sons have made their way through the lower school, are now in the third year and in the middle school, but also a very warm welcome to our new parents who are new, completely new to the foundation. So I'm going to speak for a few minutes, and then I'm going to be handing over to Andrew Crisp. Andrew is the head of the middle school, and he's going to be talking about some of the key areas of focus for the third year over the course of the year. But I wanted to share a few introductory comments with you. I should say that we are recording this session, and a recording will be sent out. So if you want to watch it over again, you're very welcome to. In fact, you can watch it multiple times. But that's primarily for our international parents who maybe aren't able to be here tonight. So from my perspective, I want to share with you perhaps some things that are at the top of the in tray at the moment. I think most important for all of us is that our new pupils settle in well and that the third year cohere as a new year group. Because clearly we have got pupils moving up from the lower school, as well as pupils coming from a whole range of different schools. So that sense of settling in to the middle school is really, really important. And certainly from my perspective, the year group as a whole seems to have settled extremely well. And we've been really pleased with the way that they have got on with the first couple of weeks in school. My main opportunity to talk to them is while they're waiting to go into lunch, which doesn't always bring the best out of adolescent males, I find. But actually, they have been very good company. They have actually waited very patiently. And they seem to be showing some really good positive experiences in the school. They're exploring all aspects of the other half, and it was great that so many of them were representing the school together on the rugby pitch on Saturday as well. So I think it's been a really positive start for them in that sense of settling in and cohering as a year group. It is a bit of a new step for us with the third year this year, because we have, of course, introduced iPads in the classroom, and perhaps that's been a point of discussion earlier in the evening. What I would say is we're keen to ensure that this works as best as it possibly can. So if you have any questions or concerns, please do direct them to Mr. Fleming, who is the Deputy Head Academic. He is collating any issues that come up and making sure we respond to them swiftly. And if we have that information, we can make sure it works well for everybody who's involved. I would also say that as part of our literacy strategy, we are really keen to get the boys to enjoy reading, and having a physical book is something that we really want them all to do. One way of helping boys sustain the reading habit when they get to the age of 13 and 14, which can be a challenge, and let's not pretend it's easy, but one way that can help is by the mirroring that at home as well, and perhaps so if you are also able to show that you enjoy reading and that you read widely as well, that is more likely to inspire your sons as well. So as well as going down the iPad track, we absolutely want them to enjoy having a physical book to hand and developing the love of reading. So another topic that's in my in tray, sadly, is the issue of VAT on fees. On Monday, the school's governors will be meeting to make a final decision about the level of cushioning that they are able to provide for parents with regard to that. We're conscious that parents already make a significant sacrifice to send their children to this school, and we're conscious what the implications of VAT on fees are. So we want to make sure that we find a solution that works as best as possible for our parental body, but also allows us to preserve the quality of education at the school. So that meeting is on Monday, and then we will certainly be communicating with parents by the end of September at the latest, and the Chair of Governors will be in touch with more information about that. So thank you for your patience in that matter. And the other topic I really just wanted to raise today was that of co-education. You'll be aware that we've announced that Abingdon School will be moving towards co-education in September 2026. So your boys, when they hit the sixth form, there will be girls actually in both sixth form years and also in 2 years of the lower school, because year 7 is another entry point. So we're taking lots of care clearly about the implementation of that and making sure that we create an atmosphere in the school where everybody, whether they are a boy or a girl, can belong, where they can fulfill their potential and enjoy their time at school. And it's clearly really important that we preserve the quality of education for our current pupils, and indeed not just preserve it, but enhance it and make it a better experience. So we're taking great care over that, and more communication will come over time, so you know where we're getting to as we hit various milestones on the route to co-ed. So thank you for listening to me. I'm now going to hand over to Mr. Crisp, who, as I say, is going to share a bit more about life in the third year.
Good evening. Okay, the first image I have there is quite self-evident, but it's really important if we are going to allow the students here to maximize their success, and that's what we want, that we have this partnership. And today is just one small step in that. So thank you very much. I remember when we had the Leavers event for awards, and at the end of the upper sixth, how the students themselves thank their parents, because actually you're a key ingredient. But this dialogue, hopefully it's really nice to see a name, see a face, put a face to a name. You've met the tutors, you've met the heads of house, as Mr. Winslow said. These are key people and staff looking after your students. So the first thing I want to say is welcome. It's really nice to have you here. If your sons ever say anything about, we had assembly today, this is where they sit on a Monday every week. Hopefully they talk about it with enthusiasm. So thank you very much for coming. It's really good. When we went through the pandemic years where people couldn't come onto site, I think that was actually quite a difficult time. So it's lovely to see you coming in. So obviously the first time I met lots of, the whole cohort was on induction day. I hope that was a positive experience. It was great to see the students. We threw quite a lot of information at them, and we kept saying, well, you don't need to remember it all, just keep asking. So hopefully, as they're now, we've done the whole timetable now. We have a 2-week timetable, and after break today, we've done the whole cycle. It's still early days, but hopefully it's becoming more familiar. Now, the pastoral team, I am very proud to be part of the pastoral team. There's lots of different members of it, and they offer lots of different support. So one of the key messages we give to the students is, please ask for help, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. So today, you met probably 2 of the key members of that team, the tutor and the head of house. The tutor will change, so the tutor usually stays with the tutor group for the 3rd year. Then there's someone who takes them on for 4th and 5th year, the sort of GCSE course years, and then they tend to have a new tutor for the 6th form. But the head of house is that one constant who remains. Just want to make you aware, we have now signed up to a wellbeing hub, and this is an amazing resource. I've had some opportunity to have a look at it. There's lots of information on that slide. Basically, it looks at supporting young people, teachers, people working with young people, and parents with a whole range of issues that young people may face. It could be something like addiction with gaming or just pressure points, coping with stress. And this is something that the school has invested in, and you as parents can sign up for free. There's lots of, as you can see, there's lots of specialists giving advice and webinars and articles, and it's regularly updated. So how do you get access to this? Well, at the bottom line in pink, please sign up through the wellbeing section of the parent portal. So that is a really important resource, and some of it will not be relevant, but hopefully there is something which will cover all the experiences that our students go through. So what's the message that I've been giving to the third year? Well, actually, I tried to use a bit of alliteration, and I had 3 H's: hard work, good habits, and I've said about asking for help. So I'll just go through these briefly. So we expect our students to work hard, and I have 3 third years actually, and I'm very happy with the way they're working and the level of hard work, but we want that to be balanced, and we are very proud of the other half offering we give, and we want our students to engage fully with that. So having that balance between doing extracurricular activities and their academic studies. So what good habits would we be looking for? Well, I think at the beginning, routines are really important, just very simple things, packing your bag the night before. Now, some of the students, by the time they get to third year, year 9, they've got that sorted, but some people still, that is an issue. Doing prep. The advice we have is do it on the night that it is set. Now, sometimes they might say, well, I do a club that night, so it's not always possible, but getting things done as it comes in stops that bottleneck occurring later on in quite stressful evenings that you've got 5 preps. So normally on the website it says students are expected to do between 30 minutes or 60 minutes. It depends on the subjects, how often they see them. So in my subject, I see them twice a week. I set 2 30-minute preps. So it should sort of work out about 15 hours a fortnight. Now, you might say, well, when have they got prep? I don't know. It's quite useful to know. So here is just a screenshot. This is something called Scheduler. So this is someone's timetable. And the only thing you need to realize is that in terms of prep, is where there is a P, that means that on that night they should receive homework. Okay? And usually it should just be about maximum of 3, but sometimes their their choice of option subjects can mean one night they might get 4 and then another night 2. But that, as a parent, you can say, please show me scheduler for the week, and then you can see which nights they're expected to do. Now, occasionally, a teacher may not quite realize that it's not the right day, and a student said to me, oh, a teacher set me prep on the right day, and I said, please tell your tutor, and then the tutor can go and say, please, can you make sure you only set it on that it is right that they only get set prep on those evenings where there's a P. So carrying on with developing good habits. As I've said, do your prep on the night set. Any concern? So if you were concerned that actually it's meant to be a 30-minute prep, but actually it's taken them a really long time, please, either encourage your sons to have that direct conversation with their tutor the next day, or with the subject teacher if they feel they can, or if you think, actually, I'll just send in an email to the tutor. I have, as a teacher, sometimes set a prep and didn't realize how long it would take. What I say to my classes early on is, if that ever happens, do your half-an-hour slot, and then you stop, and they say, sorry, that took too long now. Hopefully, most of the time I get the prep right, but occasionally I misjudge it. So just that communication is really important. Using technology, some people, we say, get into the routine of, maybe setting up folders for certain. If you're in a sports team and you want to put your sports team emails in one place, that you can then find them easily. Now, in terms of what's coming through on the iPad, they have various assignments and tasks. One of the disadvantages is if you start it, you do need to mark done, otherwise you will lose the work you've done. And then you can go away and think, oh, I've done that. So what we've asked them to do is get into the habit. There's an app on all their iPads called Google Tasks, and they can just go in there and say, finish your geography homework because I didn't finish it, but yet it will look ticked. And we've talked about that with them. So it's about getting into those routines of how do I manage checking I've done all my tasks. And if there's a problem with that, obviously talking to the tutor will help support with that. Some people, very good at this, others need a little bit more support. Sleep is a really important thing. I was talking about this with my fourth year in the PSHC lessons, the quality of sleep. And it's something we ask them about at the end of each term to evaluate how much sleep they have, and the quality of it. And some people, it's a difficulty, and we've got the health centre. If someone was really struggling with it, they can go and get some help, advice about that. Phones. So we now, because they have their iPads, they don't need to have their phones at all. I'm really, really pleased. The third year has responded really, really well to this. In fact, with the exception of one person, there has been no confiscations. Now, we don't physically take the phones now. We just log it, but then there's been no logins. So the third year has really bought into this. We think it's important. We want them to develop social interactions where they're talking and not constantly walking around on their phones. I would say it's a really good habit for me as well to leave my phones downstairs at night, not take them up in the bedroom. It's not my role to tell you how to parent, but that would be a message that we would endorse as a school. One of the things we said is we really want the students to make the most of opportunities. When I met them on the first day, I said, well done for being here. You've got through the exam, you've got through the interview, you finally arrived. I know the people in lower school are already here, but you finally arrived. What we're just looking for is you to be enthusiastic. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be physics, it could be drama, it could be a sport that you've just started, it could be carrying on learning a musical instrument. I don't care what it is, just come with enthusiasm. And one of the things we want to do is celebrate diversity. In our student body, there is a range of students and on lots of different levels. Now, some things are really obvious that people are different, and some things are not obvious. But we want to show respect where there are differences and just get them to be seeing that richness in being part of a community and showing respect. The other message I said is be yourself. There is not one typical student here at Abingdon. You don't need to come and say, oh, I need to do this. I have to play this particular sport. I have to. No, we have, if you look at the other half, there's over 100, probably 130, 140 different activities you can sign up for. Some people are strong in the arts, some people are strong in the sciences. We want them just to be themselves. We want them to try new things and discover new things about themselves, but they can just come and say, I don't need to be any particular person, I just need to come, be myself, engage fully, and be enthusiastic. Asking for help is really important, and we had our two heads of school. Our head is the head, Mr. Windsor, our heads of school is what we call our head boys. So they came in and they talked about self-respect, and one of them, Adam Redmond, was saying, it is a sign of self-respect to say, at this point I need some help. So what we say to them is speak to someone, and that someone can be their tutor who they see every day. It could be someone they get on well with. It could be an older student. So some of you were shown to the house, well, a lot of you shown to the house rooms by the older prefects. They rub shoulders with them in the house room. We've got a set of, we call them peer support leads. These are students who've had some training in listening and supporting other students. And we tried to match them up. So someone who maybe in their lower school career struggled with organisation might be a good person to match up someone who's struggling with organisation now. Someone who found social relationships quite awkward earlier on in their school career might be someone who could come alongside someone in that situation. So there's lots of support even in the student body. And of course, we have an excellent team of school counsellors, and a lot of our students use that, and I think that's a real strength. If you were concerned about something, and you felt, actually, I want to get that message through really clearly, please do contact the tutor as the first point and just initiate. It may then get passed on to someone else to deal with, but please do contact the tutor. So what is the role of the tutor? Well, there are 190 students in this year group. Each tutor group, the boarding houses are slightly smaller, but mostly they're 11. So they take the register each day, but they do so much more. How do they get to know your son? Well, they're going to see them each day, and actually that seeing someone each day is really quite important because you often can see if things change or if someone is presenting slightly differently. So those conversations go on daily. Sometimes they're really brief. When they come to assembly, there's not a long time for conversation, but how was your weekend? Maybe something short like that. They have a longer time where they meet on a Wednesday afternoon, so that's weekly the tutor sees the tutees. And there's a flow of information that comes to the tutor through our systems. So where they are doing well in subjects, the subject teacher can award a commendation and say why. They're now flowing in. We're now getting into the hundreds, okay? So as more and more prep is done and people are taking part in lessons, those commendations are increasing. That's a really good sign. That's what we want. We want people to engage fully. Concerns come through. So that could be that someone's not met a homework deadline, that someone's not very organised. That's really important for us to know. And we've had not as many concerns as commendations, but they've come through for certain students. And that's telling the pastoral team, this person needs some support. Okay, and that's a really important flow of information as well. So the tutor will proofread the reports, which is important, but actually allows them to see how they're doing academically each time the reports come out. And at the end of each term, there is a self-reflection questionnaire, which is mainly, its main purpose is to trigger a conversation. So the student and the tutor sit down at the end of each term and say, how's it gone? They rate their well-being score. They say if they feel what's going well, what's not going well. And it's just a chance to have, often the issues that come up in that conversation aren't surprises because the conversations have gone on all through the term. But it's a snapshot where we can just make sure that we're not missing anyone who hasn't voiced any concerns or what's going well. It can be a celebration of the term and how it's gone well. Let me just finish with a few dates for you. So it's a long way off, but in June, that is when the third year exams are. If you do re-watch this, you can fast forward just to this point in the talk and to see the dates. Third year parents' evening, they are online, and there is a webinar which happens just before the half term. In that webinar, you will hear about choices for GCSE. There's a sort of week over half term to sort of process that information. Okay, what subjects are we going to choose? And then the main parents' evening is after the half term holiday, and it's on the 24th. If, like I have 3 classes, I can't see all the parents in one evening. So if as a teacher I have more than one evening class, there's an overflow evening, and that's a chance for you to hear specific feedback in conversation of how the academic learning is going on. So that brings to the end what I was going to say. Thank you very, very much for listening. As I say, this will be sent out in a recording. I hope you found this evening useful to just make those connections, put a face to the names of key staff who will be looking after your sons. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for coming along. I just wanted to finish by saying that we're very keen that you do feel part of the Abingdon community too. You are very, very welcome to come along for events like fixtures, concerts, productions, and so on. I hope you'll come and join us for those. We also do, there'll be some social events for parents as well. And I've been asked to put an early plug-in for a Ceilidh, which is taking place next term. We did one last year, and when we arrived, a father said, well, I'm just coming for the food, you know, I'm not that interested in dancing. At the end of the night, I watched him swirling around the dance floor with his wife, and he said what a great time he'd had. So there'll be more information coming out about that. But as I said, I hope you can develop a sense of belonging with the community if you're new to us as well. But we're going to finish there. Thanks so much for coming along. I know some of you have long journeys, so thanks for joining us. I hope it's been a good evening for you. Thank you.